So we're going to try this again. So we should be live now. Comments are on. Thank you, Arlen. Okay, so Arlen's in. So we will see if anybody else shows up. But at least now I know it's working. Oh, so anyways, now that I know it's finally working, uh, this week's been interesting since our last. Arlen's graced us with her presence. How sweet of her. Uh, since last week, what's been interesting has been the number of people that I see that don't stay in charge of their relationship. And I find that interesting. You take the time to come to the Philippines, you plan, you do everything, and you get everything ready for your new life. And then you don't apply it. You don't you don't you don't stay in charge of it. Oh. Hi, Finn Publishing. Good morning. How are you? But you don't stay. Guys are not staying in charge of their future. Why would people work um, as hard as they have? Hi, Ken. Good morning to see you. I don't understand why men would work so hard to their golden years and then not stay in charge of their golden years. I'm not saying be a dick about it, okay? I'm not saying that, you can, that relationships should be one sided. But what I am saying is that you have to sit there and define what it is that makes a relationship for you. And that's what you need to settle for. Okay? And Ken's in there, and Finn's in there, and if I know Arlen, she's not paying any attention. She just has this on. Uh, but anyway, what I don't understand that. I mean, don't settle for less than what you want. That's just not the way to do it. Oh my God, we've been graced by a world icon. Philly in the Philippines dropped in. Good morning, Brian. I hope you're doing well. I just left your live stream a few minutes ago. Had a little bit of trouble with mine. Had some trouble setting up my comments for some reason. But let's see here. Yeah, Philly. So, anyways, I don't get it where men don't stay in charge of their future. You worked hard. Guys that retire, that put forth the effort, that do everything that it takes to um, retire and then move and transition, okay? And then they don't stay in charge of their relationship. Net Dep Vietnam. Net Dep Vietnam. Okay. Hiya, Net Dep. Nice of you to join us. Thank you. Arlene swears she's listening, I guess for the time being. But I don't get it. Now I have to be very careful about what I say since my wife is listening to every word of this in the next room. But she knows how I feel about it. You know, and you know something? I think it's even easier to give you an indication. Arlene and I have very clearly defined roles in our relationship. And I think that men should have clearly defined roles as well as everything else. Hi, Bryce. No, I don't have anything other than they did pull the video. They got the video. They saw it. The guy scaled the back wall, and it is. Michael, if you were here, I certainly would buy you one, and I certainly appreciate the effort that you made to get in. So, but getting back to what I was saying, when you get into a relationship, you've worked hard to earn that right to have the relationship that you're looking for. You put forth all of the effort, whether it was in the military, in the private sector, whatever. If you can afford to be retired, you put forth effort. And since you put forth effort, don't give up on that. Don't accept less than what you want. You know, I know what Arlene expects of me in our relationship, and Arlene knows what I expect of her. And both of us feel very strongly, and we feel very good about what it is with each other. So that's important. I think that everybody should do that. I think you worked too hard. You worked too hard, too long to not have a retirement that is everything that you want it to be. Bryce, where's the best place to get coffee in Angeles City? Well, you know something? There are a lot of places to get coffee, without a doubt. However, if you're familiar with Fields Ave and where it turns into Walking Street, right there at the corner where Envy Restaurant is, okay? Right next to Envy is a place called Cafe Miley, Miel, I think is how you spell it. I like, quite honestly, I really like their coffee. They have real coffee, real espresso, real cappuccino. It's rich, it's thick, it's a generous serving, and it's right there. And it's an entertaining place because, and it may not be your kind of entertainment. Okay, I'll be honest with you, but it is entertaining. If you, I wouldn't go there for breakfast, but if you want a cup of coffee in the evening and you want to be entertained, that's right there at the entrance to Walking Street. So you've got all the drunk Americans and Koreans leaving Walking Street with their dates. You've got all the girls coming to work, all the foreigners going down Walking Street. And then what you've got, which is amazing, I don't understand it, but that seems to be the big, right up the, if you go another 200 feet back up Fields, that is going to be just like loaded with ladyboys and freelancers. And that can be entertaining because they are just unfiltered. And I don't know if you know Mar Posa. Mar is one of the waiters over at Envy, and he vlogs from Envy. And it seems like there's some kind of little cat fight amongst the ladyboys all the time. So it's entertaining, and I think that their coffee is really, really good. Cafe Maya, I think is how you pronounce it, but it's Miel, I think is how it is. In fact, I think Arlen and the girls had a girls' night out last week, and I think they stopped and had either a drink or coffee there. Either, I don't know, in their trip out that night. But anyways, what I'm getting at, or what I was getting at, was the fact that you worked so hard to get to where you are. Don't sell yourself short. Don't think you're not worth every bit of what you think you're worth. You may not be, but you know, the art of negotiation is the best art of negotiation is to start high and then end up in the middle, where both the buyer and seller are negotiating. And so I would start with my value being extremely high if I were you. Finn says, where's the best Southern barbecue? Oh my God. Don't give me a headache so early. Finn, there is no great Southern barbecue here. There really and truly is not. There is some good Southern barbecue. There are some places that do ribs pretty good. There are some places that do their own idea of ribs. There are some places that do pulled pork. But true Southern barbecue, we haven't found. Now, we've heard of a couple places, but we just haven't been there yet. So I can't tell you. There's nowhere that I would recommend at this point in time. Michael says, my wife and I have roles defined for each other. I do most of the cooking. She does the dishes. I do the snow and most of the yard work. She does the inside work, cleaning and laundry. Yeah. You know, that's just the way it is. You know where you end up. Face pink tears. I think that should have been an emoji, but it didn't come through. Richard says, I'll have to try that cafe. I go to Walking Street to play pool with my father and friends. May head a little early before meetup. I enjoy a good latte when I don't need any sweetener to drink it. It really is. You know what, Richard? please do drop us a line and let us know what you thought about it. I think it's really good. Um, for me, I'm not a frou coffee drinker. Um, when I would on occasion go to Starbucks or Seattle's Best in the U.S., my favorite was a flat white. I'm not into. I take my daughter and she's all into the frappuccinos and cappuccinos, and that's just not me. But let me know what you do think about it. Just a Bill says he'll do the snow removal in the Philippines. I think that's very gracious of you, Bill. I really and truly do. So, geez, 15 people on my live stream. That's doing better than I thought I would do this morning. Thanks so much for showing up. We really appreciate it. So, if you've got other questions, if you want to know about Mindanao or what we can tell you about parts of Mindanao, if you want to know about how to get from point A to point B, we know what we do about different restaurants, bars, and everything else here in Angeles. Um, we travel back and forth. So I mean, we've got a little bit of information we can share with you certainly, and would be happy to do so. That's for sure. Uh, Let me see what else is going on. I look at all of the stuff going on in the U.S. right now, dumbfounded by it. Not going to get into politics, left or right. Just going to say I'm dumbfounded by everything going on in the U.S. right now. It seems like every time I talk about politics, no matter how neutral I try and be, I lose subscribers. And I'm trying to hang on to them. I really want to try and hit that 2,000 mark prior to June for what is this? May, June? Yeah, prior to June 5th. I want to hit that 2,000 mark. I don't think I will, but I'm trying. I got into lattes, according to Richard. I got into lattes when I was stationed in Bremerton, Washington, and had a Seattle's Best latte at the Base Exchange. Seattle's Best got bought by Starbucks, but recently sold to Nestle. I didn't know. Starbucks bought Seattle's Best? Really? I kind of preferred Seattle's Best over Starbucks. Okay. I'm a very heavy coffee drinker. I drink about 2 pots a day on average. And I like coffee. My favorite coffee is first thing in the morning because that's going to be the leftover coffee from the night before that's been sitting out. And I just pour it in a cup, stick it in the microwave, and then hit brew on the pot while it's making a new pot. I've got yesterday's leftovers, so I love it. Finn wants to know, based on what's going on in America, how are we perceived in the Philippines? It's interesting. Um, I think that overall the perception is pretty darn good. We all have bad apples. Um, American expats, UK expats, foreign expats, tourists, they all have bad apples and they get in trouble once in a while. But generally, they're very well thought of. And I think that, we've been behaving ourselves pretty darn good here lately. So I don't think the perception's bad. Michael says, do you favor to Americans bringing a wife on a K1 visa? Do a complete video chat on the pitfalls we all went through. You know what, Michael? I think it's our experience. We got married in the Philippines, and it took us 18, 19 months to get Arlen a visa and to the U.S. Many of our friends got K1 visas in right around 8 to 12 months. So to get them to the U.S., I would tend to think that that's going to be a faster route. Now, the other thing that you need to keep track of is if you get married in the Philippines, your only option of exiting that is through an annulment currently. Although, actually, there are some law changes and you can get a divorce, but they're very difficult and very hard to come by. But it's through an annulment, which is expensive and time consuming. But if you get married in the US, the Philippines recognizes that. And if you register your marriage with the consulate in the US, all right, the Philippine consulate, your American marriage, then you can get a divorce. You can file for divorce in the US, and the Philippines will recognize that divorce here. Interesting thought. Not that I would consider doing that. I'm very happily married with Arlen. But that is an interesting concept. So I think, though, that going back to Finn's comment earlier, I think that Americans are pretty well perceived here. Brent says the best coffee, in my opinion, in the U.S. is at a truck stop restaurant. Well, you know what, Brent? It's hard to argue with that. It's usually stale, bitter, strong, and good. And that's the way I like coffee. I like to be able to almost chew on my coffee. And unfortunately, hitting up the local truck stop is a little hard in Phoenix. There aren't that many of them in central Phoenix. But, and then here in the Philippines, it's just not an option. So, but it is what it is. What can I say? So I'm trying to think what else is going on. I try and stay out of politics, so I'm not going to cover that. I don't talk about. Oh, you know what was interesting the other day? It was interesting the other day. If you have a Filipino wife or girlfriend and you give her an allowance, if you're willing to share what that allowance is, I'd be interested to know. I have some friends that are doing that. And I think they're kind of crazy the way that they're doing it. Richard says, my dad just divorced his Filipino wife. They were married here in Angeles. It's recognized here. He filed in Las Vegas as that was his last residence before he retired here. There you go. My dad, so they filed in Las Vegas, and if she got a Cinemar here in the Philippines, would it list her as married still? That's what I was talking about. Yes, you can get a divorce in America for a marriage in Angeles, but getting a divorce in the Philippines, if you're married in the Philippines, is a bit different. Are they masking where you are? No, they are not masking here. I heard they were masking in Iloilo. Last I saw, they're no longer masking, but I think the government offices in Iloilo are still requiring a mask. But no. And I don't think that the Philippines is going to go to masking. I don't think the Philippines can take the economic burn of masking again. I really and truly don't. Michael says, I had issues with my wife listening to Filipinos how to fill out the papers. She needed clearance from Kuwait for the visa process. No place you can find out that they won't give it to you. She needed clearance, but she's a Filipino. Michael, why would she need clearance from Kuwait if she's a Filipino? Maybe you could explain that. Richard says yes. His ex has to get the divorce recognized here. He doesn't. Yes, yes, Richard, that's exactly true. And she's going to have a hell of a time getting that divorce recognized in the Philippines. It's a long and arduous process, unless they were married in the U.S. So, but you know what? You do what you know. I tell people to do what it is that they want to do. And Michael says she worked in Kuwait as OSW. Okay. All right. So she was leaving from Kuwait to get to the U.S., I guess, not leaving directly from Philippines. All right. That makes sense. Anyways. Oh, Arlen, do you need me? I heard the bedroom door cracked open and off she ran. Sometimes she's a bit shy. I don't know why, but she can get that way from time to time. What else is going on? I see California is $10 billion in the hole over budget. That's just great accounting. Michael says, I got scammed by her cousin. Michael says he got scammed by her cousin who worked at Philippines Immigration saying she could get it. Ah, okay. She was back in the Philippines already. The sociopath, will you be getting a diphtheria booster because of the outbreak? No, I will not be getting a diphtheria booster. And I'll tell you, it's not because I don't want it. I wouldn't get a diphtheria booster, and I can't get a diphtheria booster because medically I can't get one. For my health issues don't allow a diphtheria booster. There are certain boosters out there that will have a huge impact on me. Would I recommend a diphtheria booster? Yeah, I would. You know, it is indeed getting worse, and I would definitely consider it. Definitely would consider it. In fact, it's probably something that Arlene and I should talk to her family about in the province. But we'll be going there in July, August, and so we'll cover that when we get there. Prior to that, we're going to Bohol. How hard is it for a Philippine person who is married to an American to get a visa to the U.S.? Okay, Brent. I'm assuming that what you mean is an American citizen comes to the Philippines and gets married in the Philippines. So, how hard is it to get married? Well, if they meet all the requirements, okay, they have no outstanding warrants, if they have a clean background check, and if they pass the physical, it's really just a matter of time, as long as, and this is the caveat that I would put in there, although I've never seen it applied, even I, although my income is more than enough to support a person, when you're applying for that visa, you have to, when she applies for that visa, she has to have a sponsor, her husband. And her husband has to sign that he's responsible for her. And a part of that is that you have to supply your last I think it was 3 or 4 years worth of tax returns to show that you had sufficient capability to support her. We didn't have any problem for Arlene to get a visa. We were married in the Philippines, and she went through the normal visa process of a spouse to get a spousal visa. And she got her spousal visa and Social Security number, but it did take, like I said, about 18 months. Most people we know are in the 9 to 13 month range with K1 visas. So that's kind of what it is. That alert has been rescinded, but I had my diphtheria booster 6 months ago at the VA clinic in Manila. Yeah, I know that the alert has been rescinded, but the numbers are still strong. And I worry about that this time of year with the heat because of the water issues. So you get standing water, you get bad water, you get all the things that you want. So we'll see. Michael says USCIS, United States Customs and Immigration, requires police clearance for every place you lived in your life. I don't know. They only asked for, you know what? They only asked of Arlene a NBI. And for me, they got a clearance in the U.S. So, Blanchett's Deli. You know, I haven't been to it, but I've heard about it. And it's something that we might try here in the future. I like I said, I've never been to it. You know, we're not real. I tend to try and stay away from stuff like that only because I will eat the living crap out of it. I love a good deli sandwich. I really and truly do. And I've been known to literally spend $40 between 3 different grocery stores getting what I needed to make a decent ham and cheese sandwich. So, you know, I just love them. I like deli sandwiches. You know, my favorite not special deli, you know, chain deli in the deli sandwich place in the U.S. is Jersey Mike's. I really like them. And then, of course, as far as a real deli goes, I think it's hard to beat Katz, Katz in New York. Best Reuben and pastrami's and potato salads you'll ever eat, as far as I'm concerned. So, Let's see here. Oh, shameless plug. Yes, it's time for that. Is it time? Well, that's not it. Richard says, I got a K1 visa for my ex back in 1992. Wasn't difficult then. I was in the Navy at that time and we had a daughter. It did take time, a little over a year for them to get to go to the U.S. Yeah, and that's what it took for most of our friends, about a year. So, bum, 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 bum. So, just a quick reminder, Arlen and I are on Buy Me a Coffee. The link is down below. If you'd like to donate to the channel, please. Well, actually, it's not down below in the live stream description. You'll have to look, or that's the website up above. You can just copy paste that in and or write it in if you're so inclined. If not, don't worry about it. We're just trying to have fun with it. Boom. Let me get rid of that. Whoops, I want that. I got to get rid of that. There we go. Okay. Got a K1. Finn. Mike, I would like to know how feasible it is for a foreigner to obtain a credit card or investment account from a Philippine bank after opening a checking and savings account. It's very easy. Very, very easy. We have checking and savings accounts. We have peso and dollar accounts, and we're at multiple banks, Philippine banks. And as long as you have a decent credit score, you can certainly get a credit card. Now, an investment account has to be tied to a Philippine bank account. You cannot fund a Philippine and when I say investment account, I'm talking about a stock account. Something like an Ed Jones or any one of those investment companies. If you're going to use a Filipino one, it has to be funded from Philippine bank, to the best of my knowledge. I could be wrong. There you go. Have a nice day. Welcome. How you doing? Is the clearance for 10 years back like secret clearance for the military, or they go back, in my case, 43 years? Um, you know what? I don't. I don't think, as far as in the Philippines, an NBI clearance is really not that significant. What they're going to do is they're simply going to see, do you have any outstanding warrants? Do you have any outstanding court appearances? And do you have any outstanding other things? And then do you have any felony convictions or other convictions? As far as, clearance in the U.S., I don't know that USCIS did any clearance on me, to be honest with you. Maybe they did. I don't know. I submitted all kinds of, but none of my relatives said that they checked on me or anything like that. They didn't email any of our friends. I don't think it's that big a deal. I really don't. It's just time. Now, that's not to say with the immigration laws changing, or the possibility of the immigration laws changing, that won't change. But that's just kind of what there is. I don't, I wish I could give you a better answer. I've had several NBI clearances here. Takes them about 5 to 7 days. Arlen's had several NBI clearances here over the years. An NBI clearances, a lot of employers here require an NBI clearance for Filipinos. It's not an unusual thing. And when my passport comes up for renewal, that'll be a U.S. thing, not a Philippine thing. So I have a ACR card. I plan to get the SRRV upon arrival. There you go. Have a nice day. SRRV upon arrival. I'm not sure what you're talking about. You can't get so visa on arrival. It's a tourist visa. You have to be in the Philippines for 60 days. So you're going to have to come in on a tourist visa. You're going to have to extend that tourist visa. You're going to have to then extend it again, but you can't apply for your SRRV unless you've been in the Philippines for 60 days, to the best of my knowledge. So I don't think you can get a SRRV upon arrival. The other issue, Michael says, the other issue you find is if you follow Philippine tradition of the name change at marriage, of dropping the last name and making it the middle name. Yes, that's what we do in the U.S. That's what Both my ex-wives dropped their finally dropped their last name and making it. Oh, no. So yes, you're correct. And no, that's not what in the US, my ex-wives dropped their last name, picked up my last name, kept their middle name. Michael says we did get SS card, but INS said no to her green card has a different name with her original middle name. Marriage license matches Social Security card. Yeah, they're a stickler. They are a stickler on names matching exactly. And then there you go. Have a nice day. Says, I plan to start the process of the paperwork. Right. And you can't even submit the paperwork until you've been here 60 days. And, 2 or 3 of our friends that have done that got it all done within 30 days. So, in other words, from the time they got to be 60 days, they got their SRRV 30 days later, within 30 days. It's a pretty, from what I understand, it's a pretty painless situation. And if you're in the Angeles, there's a company that does it. Actually, there's several that do it. Most of our friends use one that's relatively close by called 583 Immigration. That's who they use for their extensions and SRRVs and things like that. So, let's see here. Oh, I think the day is going to be one of those lazy days, to be honest with you. Or I'm hoping. Actually, that's more of what I mean. I think I'm hoping it's going to be one of those lazy days. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But you never know. So I'm trying to think what else we've got to cover. Can't think of anything offhand. What other questions might you have? Is anybody coming to Angeles anytime soon? Certainly, I'd love to meet you if you did. Let's see here. So there you go. Have a nice day. 583 immigration costs much for all the paperwork processing. I don't know. I don't know how much they cost. I've had two friends that went through them in the past um, 6 months, and neither one of them complained about how much it was. So um, one of them was a ex-military, and one of them was an individual business guy. Richard says, my ex dropped her last name, kept her mother's maiden name as her middle name. Yeah, there you go. I guess you could do it um, either other way. Michael, I don't want the rat race of Metro Manila. You mean to go through immigration or to live? Um, yeah, I don't know. Uh, we decided that Manila was just far too much of a rat race for us. It just wasn't my idea of being retired to have that stress of that kind of a crowd. Richard Stille, no PRA marketer get a commission. You pay nothing related to the SRRV. That's true. Yes, that is supposedly true. I've read that. Richard is correct that that actually the Philippine Retirement Administration actually pays them for that. So we'll see. I'm sure there's some people that will scam you the other way, but that's true. There you go. Have a nice day. I may be in Angeles in September, then move there permanently in March of next year. We will be in Mindanao the first week of September and then back here. So we won't be here the first week from, we won't be here the first week of September. Angeles is far away from Manila. No, it's not. It's an hour and 15 minutes. The expressway, it's a piece of cake. It's an absolute piece of cake. Now, Intramuros, where main immigration is there, that's a pain in the butt. You know, 583. At some point in time, I'm pretty sure you have to go to Intramuros no matter what. At some point in time, yes, you're going to have to go to Intramuros at some point during the SRRV because they're going to fingerprint you there and they're going to take your photo for your SRRV card. Both of my buddies had to do that. And I don't know whether 583 arranged for transport there for them or whether they just took their own transport or whether they took a bus. I don't know which one they did. But you're going to end up having to go for an SRV. I'm pretty sure the only places you can finish those is Cebu and Manila. I think. Could be wrong. I could be wrong. But you're going to have to go. Yeah, they only do that in the main offices, to the best of my knowledge. Bum, 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 bum. Angeles is far away from Manila. It's not part of Manila, Metro Manila. No, it's not. So, I mean, Manila is the NCR, the National Capital Region, is how it's defined. And it's, I don't know, I want to say it's 7 cities or 9 cities. You've got Manila, Makati, BGC, Quezon City, that whole area, Antipolo, Pasay, Pasig. So, nice Says we'll be there June 22nd through July 5th. Nice. So you'll be in the Philippines or you will be in Angeles? Which one? Richard says I started at SRRV, did the deposit, which is refundable. Found out my birth father was still a Filipino citizen when I was born, so working on getting citizenship. Kept the deposit just in case. Nice, nice. You'll get a lot more benefits by that. Nysom says been a few times before visiting. Jawa lives in Magalang. Okay. There you go. Have a nice day. So flying through Korea to Clark is the best option. You can't get Grab from Manila to Angeles. Manila to Angeles is 120 bucks USD. Yeah. So actually, you can get a Grab and you will pay out the ass. Okay. But if you're flying into NAIA into Manila, you can get the Genesis bus. It's a very nice bus, runs just about every hour, and it's air conditioned, it's comfortable, it'll haul all your bags, and it's like 380 pesos. It's, like five, six, it's $8. Okay. And that'll take you right up to SM Mall. But there you go. Have a nice day is absolutely correct. The best thing flying from the U.S. is to fly into Incheon and then from Incheon into Clark. Absolutely. Staying at Penthouse this time. I'm not sure. Are you talking about over by the ABC? You're staying at the Penthouse at the ABC, or you're staying at the Penthouse Hotel? I've never been there, but I know where it is. But yes, it's just so much nicer because you can get in a taxi or Grab or whatever on Clark, and $5 later, you're in the heart of Angeles, wherever your hotel is. That's the best way to get there. It's worth the extra. You're going to pay on average, unless you can get a good deal, about $200 more for that flight into Clark than you're going to pay into Manila. Michael says some advice. I did not get my wife's citizenship to the U.S. It changes her ability to own land in the Philippines, smaller amounts, plus she needs to file U.S. taxes. Well, yes, and yes. And how does that work? I mean, my wife is not a U.S. citizen, but she still has to pay taxes in the U.S. But she does have a U.S. Social Security number. I don't know how that actually all works. Clark immigration takes about 10 minutes. Man, I'm telling you what. We just got back from Thailand about 2.5 months ago. And immigration took us the better part of 3 hours. We almost missed our ride back up to Angeles. It was miserable. They've been complaining left and right. Yeah. 45 minutes to an hour. That's like if you're one of those 2 a.m., 3 a.m. flights. We came back from Thailand at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Or no, we landed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we almost, or right around 2:30 in the afternoon, and we almost missed our 6 o'clock ride back up to Angeles. So if you're coming in, between 11:30, 12:30, and say 5 o'clock in the morning, it's probably a lot easier. I would agree. I would definitely agree. Um, Well, folks, we're going on that 1 hour mark now. So I want to thank all of you for dropping in. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit that thumbs up, it really helps. And if you find yourself so inclined, buy Arlen and I a cup of coffee. You guys have a great day. I hope you have a happy Mother's Day. It is here. Okay? And take care. Be safe.